Hello guys, welcome into another lesson. In this lesson, we are going to talk about variables and data types. What are variables? Variables are like containers in which these containers store some data, and these containers are memory locations that store some data that we need to store. In variables, we have ways of declaring variables. We use var. We also have let, and we also have const. We use the let. The var, we use the var, and for the const, we use the const keywords. But in this, we have to set these variables, and these variables we have to assign a value. For example, for let, we can assign let equals to name. Then for var, we can assign var is equals to age. Then for the const, we can assign this const is equal to gender. As you can see in the const, we have an error because this is a variable or a container that needs to store a certain data. That takes us to the next topic, that is JavaScript data types. In JavaScript, we have two types of data types. We have the primitive types and we have the reference types. In the primitive types, we have numbers, we have string, we have boolean, we have undefined, and we have the null. For the reference types, we have the objects, we have arrays, and we have the functions. For now, let's go to the primitive types and see the difference in this and how we write all these. This we have said we have numbers, we have boolean, we have string, we have undefined, and we have the null. So how do we assign this? Let's take the let. We can use the let name is equal to string into quotation marks and say name is equal to John and age is equal to 22. Then we assign the gender also to be a string that can be male. But we want to make sure that we use the data types. So we can clear this and then we make use of the let. Let name be John. Let the gender let name be John. Let the age of John to be 23. And also we can use the boolean. The boolean, we use the boolean to be true or false. So the boolean, a statement can either be true or a statement can either be false. That's how we write the boolean or we use the boolean. In real life application, we can say let if John is married. If John is married, we can say it's either false or true. That's an example of how we can use the boolean data type. What about the null and undefined? For example, we can say let the status of John to be like that. By default, when you have not assigned any value to this variable, by default it's undefined. And how do we use the null? The null we can set let colors be, we can either set color to be red. What if in a certain input that the color is not red or the input is not red? That's where we use the null. That means it's empty or it's assigned a value but it's not does not contain the actual value. That's how we use the null and the undefined. Now we can print this in the console and see if we can get the output of each variable that we have defined here. For example, we can print the name, and then once you save, you can see we have printed John. But also we can print something else with comma, the age of John, also the marriage status of John, and the rest will follow. Once we save, you can see John is 23 years old, then also John is not married. The rest you can print out the same. For example, we can console the status and see if we can console the status and see if we are going to get the output of undefined, and then here we have the undefined. The same case will apply for the colors. Then we have undefined and we have the null. That's it for the data types and variables. Let's go now to the next part, that is the reference data types. In the reference data types, we have said we have the objects, we have the arrays, and we have the functions. How do we write, or how do we go about the objects? What is an object first of all? An object, we can take an object as a person. A person has properties. We have the age of this person. We have the age, we have the gender, we have marriage status, we have the height. These are properties of this object, and our object is that person. So how do we write these objects? We can comment this for now and write those objects. So the next thing here is object. In the objects, we write the object. For example, this person, we can assign this person variable like that, or we can let person to be object literal like that. Then we assign an empty object literal. Then inside here is where we write our key value pair. Our key value pair, that means we have the key. For example, we have the name, then we assign the value of that name to be John, then comma, because we have to write that, we have comma instead of the semicolon. So in the comma, we can now assign age of this person to be 23. Then we can assign the rest of the properties of this person. To console log this person, we need to console. We can console log person like that. We can console log the person like that. Once we console log the person like this, we can see now we have our object printed out here. But we can access a certain property of this object. For example, we can print out the age, also we can print out the name and the rest of the properties that we need. As you can see, our object here, that is person, has been printed out with also the object literals. So to print out that person, we can use the dot notation to access a certain property. For example, we can do the console log. We can do the console log person dot age. Once we print out the person dot age, then you can see we have printed out 23. That is the age of this person object. Because JavaScript is dynamically typed, that means we can assign a value here like person. We can assign person dot. We can assign the name. We can reassign the name from John to Jane. From John to Jane. Once we save and then print out, we can see, and here we try to print out person dot name. You can see we have printed out Jane because we have reassigned this property of name to this value of Jane. And that's how object and JavaScript is dynamically typed. We can go to the next topic, that is JavaScript arrays. JavaScript arrays. What are arrays? We can take an array as a list. For example, in arrays, we can write anything here that we want. We can write John. We can also write the age of John to be 23. We can also write something else like bananas and the rest. That's how you write an array. So log the list and we see the output of this list. As you can see here, we have our list over here. But our list, as you can see, it has started counting from index 0. In programming, we count from index of 0 all the way to the final index. And we can see the length of this list is 3. We have 3 items, 1, 2, 3. But we start counting from 0. So John is assigned index 0, index 1, then index 2. Now, how can we print out the age, that is 23, in our console? To console log or to print out the output, we add an array symbol. Then you add the index of that age you want to print. We know the index of the age is 23, so we add the index of 1 like this. Then we print out the output, that is the age, and the age is 23. Because again, JavaScript is dynamically typed, we can add an item inside this list. How do we add an item inside this list? We can take the name of our list and add an item over here, but we have to add it in a certain index. Because we have 3 items, index 0, index 1, index 2, we can add here in index 3. For example, in index 3, we can add a string or a number or a boolean, for example, like this is true, or any data type that we want to add. Once we save and we print out our list, like this. Let's comment this and we print out our whole list like this. We are going to see we have added this data type. That's it for the data types and variables. In JavaScript, we have seen we have 2 different data types, the primitive and the reference types. Then in the primitive types, we have seen we have the numbers, string, boolean, undefined, and the null. But in the reference types, we have seen we have the objects and we have the arrays. In the next lecture, we are going to talk about functions. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.